How did the Council of Jerusalem impact the early church? Well, what does it tell us about the early church? Although those who know of the Council of Jerusalem often know of the theological conclusions of it, often overlooked is the impact it had on church culture. My three main points will be about the conflict between the Pauline and Jerusalem branches of the church. The second, the God-fearer sect of Judaism becoming a major source of converts to Christianity. And third, showing that the church was willing to make theological decisions at councils. The conflict between the Pauline and Jerusalem branches of the church. Why was the Jerusalem council held? The reason is given in Acts 15. It was mostly about settling about Mosaic law and Jewish customs in order to be saved. In verses 7 through 11 of Acts 15, Peter talks about his ministry to the Gentiles. This led Peter to the conclusion that there should they should not be placing a yoke on the neck of that there should be this led Peter to the conclusion that there should be no, quote, placing a yoke on the neck of the Gentile disciples that neither our fathers nor we have been able to bear, unquote. It says in Acts 15:10. We have two complementary accounts, but they are also distinct. Luke wrote his long after, but Paul was more in the moment at the writing of it, so he had more emotion. Paul really wanted the truth, but he felt as if all the others were spiritually dead there. James wanted to stay with the Jewish culture and tradition, so the decision was reached that the laws given for Noah would be the standard instead of Moses. The Jerusalem church continued to primarily minister to Jews, while Paul did to the Gentiles from there on. Second, it shows us that the God-fearer sect of Judaism became a major source of converts to Christianity. Who were they, though? Well, it was many groups, but what they had in common was that they were not ethnically Jews, but they revered the Jewish God. They were not converts. They did not have a full commitment to the faith, but they just attended synagogue and possibly gave alms, but didn't fully embrace the law. They were from polytheistic backgrounds, so they maybe thought he was just one of many gods. This confusion can be seen in Acts 7:19. What was actually viewed is not clear, but what they actually thought was not clear. But it is obvious that they were passionate enough to come to the defense of the Jewish faith, as such can be seen in Acts 13:50. Among the first members of the early church, they were not fully ready to be Jewish, which is part of the reason for the meeting, actually. The acceptance of Jesus and receiving of the Holy Spirit shifted the goal of the church to opening the way for the gospel to the Gentiles, because they already believed in God but didn't want to go through all the hoops. They were obviously an important part of the council because they were addressed multiple times with the Jews in Acts 13:16 and 13:26, which says, quote, "Brothers, sons of the family of Abraham, and God-fearers, to us has been sent the message of this salvation," unquote. So, the Jerusalem and Gentile churches stayed mostly separate. When the Jerusalem church became mostly destroyed by the Jewish-Roman War, some of them escaped. Some of the Jewish church escaped to Jordan, and they became known as the Ebionites later on. Third, the church was willing to make major theological decisions at councils. The church councils are formal meetings from leaders or representatives from multiple congregations for regulation or discipline. The decision to use this model is important because it set a standard for praying and discussion instead of fighting. It also made it so that even though now there was no Jesus to resolve disputes or give answers, it did set a democratic model as standard. Quote, "The Council of Jerusalem is the first political act in the history of Christianity," unquote, says Paul Johnson. It became the case that from this, it also helped. The council also helped because it was shown that there was a need for Christians to follow the Jewish diet, but more importantly, their conduct, which still is used as somewhat a standard for even today. So, because of the standard they set for using councils to resolve decisions, as well as the God-fearer sect of Judaism becoming a major source of Christianity converts, and the conflict between the Pauline and Jerusalem branches of the church, although the major theological decisions of the Council of Jerusalem are important, the often overlooked church culture impact it has is also very important. Thank you.